Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, a man is jailed for life for murdering his girlfriend. 24-year-old Claire Levesque was stabbed to death in a hot tub in Shetland. I've been speaking to the Scottish Conservative leader Russell Finlay about Scotland's parole system. The man who attacked him with acid 10 years ago was today considered for release. And should vets be forced to publish price lists so pet owners can see costs up front amid rising prices? We'll ask the industry body that question. Of course, we have all of the sport for you with Sheila. Sheila, what is on the cards tonight?
We'll discuss the Rangers' managerial frontrunner Kevin Muscat with a man who knows him very well from his time down under.
Look forward to it. And the story of Olive the Owl, who was rescued from an oil rig. Hello, I am Sarah McMullen and welcome to the news at 7. Crime of exceptional depravity. That's how a judge described the murder of 24-year-old Claire Levesque in Shetland. Today, 41-year-old Aaron Pearson was sentenced to a minimum of 25 years in prison at the High Court in Edinburgh for killing his girlfriend in a hot tub in February 2024. Now, here is some of the call that he made to emergency services that night.
Hi, my name is Aaron Pearson.
Who are you?
I just killed my girlfriend in a hot tub in the garage at Ringville, the Annex, Sanis.
What's your
Shetland.
girlfriend's name?
Claire Levesque.
Well, during that call, Pearson said he'd stabbed Claire around 40 times at his mother's house in San Ness, where the Canadian couple were living. But in court, he denied murder and claimed Miss Levesque had stabbed herself. The court was told that Claire had endured a prolonged period of domestic abuse and controlling behaviour. In interviews, her father had described her as happy with a love of adventure. Judge Lord Arthurson passed sentencing and called the evidence substantial and compelling.
Miss Levesque died a squalid death of quite unimaginable, multifaceted violence, including in particular severe and frenzied instrumental violence, all at your hands. This was a sustained episode of feral butchery. You have sought to blame Miss Levesque for your own assaults against her, and you have, in a grave insult to her memory and to her bereaved family, put forward a defence that Miss Levesque inflicted these catastrophic injuries upon herself, a defence that the jury have unanimously rejected. This was part of a sinister pattern of domestic abuse by you of Miss Levesque, which encompassed physical violence and coercive control of her. During one argument, a recording of which the jury heard, Miss Levesque on 12th December 2023 warned you, prophetically as matters turned out, that "you're going to kill me." In that argument, you told her in your own words that you had assaulted her because she needed it, deserved every last bit of it and more, and that she had it coming. This was the dismal background to the murder that you would only some 2 months later go on to commit. In one comment during that argument, you said to Miss Levesque that she was lucky, quote, "that I don't gash your head in," close quote. You are now aged 41, you have no schedule of previous convictions, very little mitigation has been offered on your behalf today by your senior counsel, albeit he advised that you have told him that not a day goes by when you do not think about the events of 11th February 2024 with sadness. Perhaps there are just no words to mitigate a crime of such gravity.
Well, after that verdict, Claire Levesque's cousin Hope Ingram paid tribute to her on behalf of the family.
Because of this, today we were able to get justice for Claire and hopefully start a new path in helping other victims suffering from domestic violence and being able to move forward and come forward. Claire was so isolated in Shetland, but she met a few people there and she made a great impression. She was such a bubbly, fun girl who brought life to every room that she walked into. And I miss her terribly, but it's so nice that we can now move forward and just remember Claire. She was one of the most loyal people you will ever meet. I have so many words that I want to say about her, and I feel like I can't put them all together. It's just so incredible.
That was Hope Ingram paying tribute to her cousin Claire Levesque, who was murdered at the age of 24. Now, in other news tonight, it's 10 years since the now leader of the Scottish Conservatives, Russell Finlay, was attacked on his own doorstep. Acid was thrown in his face by a criminal he'd been investigating as a journalist. William Burns was sentenced to 15 years behind bars for that attack. Today, he appeared at a parole board hearing, hoping to secure his freedom, though we've since learned he'll remain in prison for now. Mr Finlay says that Scotland's parole system lacks transparency. The Scottish Government says it could be better, but is consulting on changes. Earlier, I asked how this attack changed the course of his life.
He could have ended up very badly injured and possibly even dead. My daughter could have come downstairs to find me lying dead on the doorstep. So I think it does give you a lot of food for thought, and probably played a big part in going up front, becoming a politician, and now here I am leading the Scottish Conservative Party.
And your attacker, his parole hearing is today. Just tell us, what is that process like for victims as it stands at the moment?
So I'm, I suppose, somewhat fortunate in that I'm entitled to apply to the Victim Notification Scheme. Now, essentially all that does is makes the parole board inform me when there is going to be a scheduled parole hearing, and they will tell me the outcome of the decision, as in whether to grant parole or whether to deny parole. I can also make a written representation, a written submission. This is probably about the 5th parole hearing. I've lost count. It's quite hard sometimes to be certain whether one that was scheduled took place or not, but it's round about 5, and these have been going on ever since around about 2021, 2022. And you're pretty much in the dark. All you're given is this very bare information. You don't know who's listening to the evidence, who's involved. You don't know what that evidence is. It might be that there are things there that would be relevant to you, or things that would perhaps not be true. You see criminals all the time leading evidence in court, which is just nonsense. And this individual's capable of that. He did so during the trial. So, and you're not entitled to know once a decision is reached. Yes, you're told if it's granted or if it's denied, but you're not told the reasoning behind that. And going back to this individual's criminal career, when he attacked me in Christmas 2015, he, on paper, if you'd believed the reporting at the time prior to that, would have still been serving a previous prison sentence for shooting a female security guard during an armed robbery. So I can't remember the exact years he was given, but had he done that time, he would not have been out in the streets to attack me.
Do you have an idea of how you might feel when you do hear if a decision has been reached to release him? I suppose different crime victims, there's this tendency, I think, for people to speak about crime victims as one collective group who all feel the same way. I'm not being gallous about this or cavalier. I'm not being dismissive. I mean, him being on the streets, I think, is bad for society. I think he's a highly dangerous individual who's spent a lifetime committing crimes, and the likelihood of him changing his ways. Just briefly then, what change is needed?
I think the same themes. It's about transparency. So whether it's about decisions being taken not to prosecute certain cases, victims are left in the dark. When it comes to prosecution decisions to do plea deals, sometimes that make no sense whatsoever, victims are kept in the dark. When it comes to parole, victims are kept in the dark. It's about respecting crime victims, sharing information with them proactively. In fact, if you treat them, if you give them the same rights as the criminals have, then you'd be winning.
That was Russell Finlay talking to me earlier. Now, a Scottish man has vowed to continue his sister's fight for justice to find out why his family received the wrong ashes for their mum from a Glasgow funeral directors before her death. Anne Gibson alerted police to potential wrongdoing by A. Milne funeral directors regarding the mishandling of ashes and funeral plans taken out by both her and her mum, which were invalid. She died in August without answers. Police Scotland are investigating more than 70 reports against the former funeral directors. Well, our reporter Hope Webb met with Anne's brother Brian as he returned to Glasgow to scatter her ashes and lay her to rest.
Just give them a nice send-off, respectful, and show you love them. It's about the respect. And my mum was 100, and I think she deserved a lot better.
She'd lived a good life.
it's a place where we know if I want to come up from Manchester, I can go and visit them. Unfortunately, I couldn't get in on the gravestone, so I've bought another one so she's, at least her name's there so we can remember her.
How did that feel personally today as Anne's brother, being able to do that?
I felt it was a final let go. I keep a little shelf in the living room with candles and everything around the both of them. And what ashes I didn't put today, they'll come back to Manchester and they'll be kept there in the house, so that I know I can speak to the two of them. I know it sounds strange, it's talking to a dead person, but I talk to them every night. I say good night, had a bad day, tell them I love them. That's basically, and I think they deserve that respect. I've got 2 Brians at the moment. When I'm at work, I leave the mental health side of me at home. But when I'm not working, I don't leave the house now. Whereas I used to go out all the time. Now I go in, stay in my bedroom, watch TV.
You want to carry this on for your mum and your sister?
Yeah. I'll carry it on till my dying day if I have to. Because I think it's all wrong. And it's not just my mum, it's my sister, it's all these other innocent people. You can't just let it go.
That was our reporter Hope Webb there talking to Brian. OK, now it's that time in the programme. Let's get a roundup of the stories which are making the BBC News app here in Scotland today. A man accused of murdering 2 Scottish gang members on the Costa del Sol faces extradition to Spain within days. Spanish police have alleged that Michael Riley shot the 2 men in May. Police are appealing for information after a dog was killed by another dog in an attack in Dumfries. Officers are keen to find CCTV footage of the incident, which happened on Saturday. Human remains taken from South Africa by explorers in the 19th century and left with the University of Glasgow are to be returned. They'll be taken back to South Africa next week. Well, for more information on all of these stories, you know that you can scan that QR code there, and that takes you to the BBC Scotland News app. Now, elsewhere this evening, an investigation has found that vet bills have risen 63% in 7 years, at twice the rate of inflation. The Competition and Markets Authority also says most vet websites show no prices at all, and that the large companies, now owning many practices, charge around 17% more than independent surgeries. Well, to remedy this, the CMA has set out 21 proposals, including clearer pricing, capped prescription fees and a ban on bonuses for promoting treatments. I spoke to Dr. Elizabeth Molyneux of the British Veterinary Association, based here in Scotland, who supports some of the proposals.
The corporates have come in and changed the market in terms of practice ownership. So the corporates now own about 60 to 70% of veterinary practices. So in, I think, 2013, they were down at about 10%. So it's changed enormously. One of the problems at the moment with the regulatory system is only vets and veterinary nurses are regulated. Businesses are not regulated at all. And that's a real issue because the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons can really only take us to task with anything they see as being a problem. So one of the things the CMA has really highlighted is that businesses do need to be regulated in order to ensure that they're providing the best information and transparency and choice for pet owners.
What difference will that make to pet owners, do you think, then, if you're able to access that pricing on a veterinary clinic's website?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say the better veterinary practices already have some pricing, but the pricing will all be in one place. One of the suggestions is that it's via the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons website.
Just lastly then, Dr. Elizabeth, we've spoken a bit about the importance of transparency here. In your view, what else needs to happen for there to be some meaningful change and improve the situation?
Yeah, I mean, regulatory change, and I've been really lucky this year to be involved in some work talking a bit about reform of the Veterinary Surgeons Act, and the CMA have really highlighted that. We want to see veterinary businesses regulated. You know, the balance, it puts a ridiculous pressure on regulated vets and nurses. So we want to see businesses properly regulated, and then the regulator will be able to make sure that, you know, client complaint processes processes are in place properly, that everybody is putting their pricing on a website, and it's much easier then for everyone. And that, as I say, will then take the load off professionals so we can concentrate on just getting people's pets right.
OK, Dr Elizabeth Millier, thank you very much for joining us on the programme and for talking us through all of that. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, dozens of bowlers, young and old, have gathered in South Lanarkshire for a maths lesson in indoor bowls, which is set to make its debut at next year's Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Children and community group members joined more experienced club players under the watchful eye of some of bowling's biggest names, along with a national comedy treasure. Nicole Nicholson now reports.
From bias to backhands, from delivery to dead ends, dozens of novices and old hands are getting to grips with this most genteel of competitive sports. Joined by a celebrity MC who seemed bowled over by the experience.
I think bowls to a certain extent had an image that women wouldn't want to play it or couldn't play it at some point, or that it was something that older people do. I'm now in the right demographic.
The aim today to draw attention to the game ahead of next year's Commonwealth Games. The organisers here are keen to point out that bowling is inclusive and accessible, but not only that, Scotland happens to be pretty good at it. Last time Glasgow hosted the Games back in 2014, the lawn bowls team took home 3 gold medals. That performance was matched by the para bowls team in Birmingham in 2022. But next year, the bowls are moving indoors.
Bowls kicks off on the first day of the Games. It runs for 10 days through. It is an incredible opportunity to actually host it indoors, and we've got a number of surprises planned, working with our bowlers and our para bowlers to make sure that we create the most amazing atmosphere for the athletes.
Today's participants are getting bowling tips from the best in the business.
You can see today this has been excellent. There's a lot of new kids trying it out for the first time, and I think it can only go forward. I think with the Commonwealth Games as well, with bowls being involved, these kids can get along to see their supporters at the end of the day and support their favourite players.
Sports people of all stripes have been getting involved, including basketball star Kieran Achara.
I'm actually loving the bowls. Believe it or not, before basketball, many moons ago, I played at Players Bowling Club through in Stirling, so I was a budding bowler when I was 14 years old, so it's actually nostalgic getting back out here on the rink and get to show my skills.
Whether basketball or bowls is your bag, tickets for the 2026 Games go on public sale this coming Tuesday. This is just the latest drive to make the scaled-down event the biggest and best it can be. Nicole Nicholson reporting Scotland, Glasgow.
Well, still to come, we'll have a full weather forecast for you with Judith, of course, and we'll bring you the story of the rescue of all of the owls. Stay with us for that. But first now, here's all the sport with Sheila.
Thanks, Sarah. Hello there. We start at Rangers, where the search for Russell Martin's replacement continues. Shanghai Port boss and former Rangers defender Kevin Muscat remains the front-runner for the role, but it's understood that discussions are still ongoing. Earlier, I spoke to his old Australia teammate and television pundit down under, Craig Foster, who insists Muscat, a former assistant to Ange Postecoglou, knows what it takes to win and is ready for the Ibrox hot seat.
Well, he's proven himself an outstanding manager here in Australia, of course, in Japan, which, you know, as your Rangers and other Scottish League fans know, is a pretty high level. And also now over the past 2 seasons in Shanghai, where he won the league last year and is close to winning again now. Through all of those periods over the last 13 years, he's grown as a coach to what we all believe an outstanding manager at this point in time, and more than capable of taking over and doing a fantastic job at Rangers.
He was quite feisty as a player. Has he mellowed somewhat as a manager?
He is understood how to win as a player, and sometimes, you know, that are boiled over in games. But when it comes to his management, we've seen only the greatest level of professionalism. If those Rangers fans look back at Yokohama Marinos or at the recent years, it was Shanghai Port, what you'll see is a coach completely in control of himself, absolutely in control of his staff, who love him, by the way, and speak very, very highly of him, rightly, and very much in control of the tactical evolution of the game, of the style of play of his team, which is a very attacking style as well, which I'm sure the Rangers fans would absolutely love.
On that attacking style of play, there have been some comparisons with Ange Postecoglou, with the clubs he's managed and his vision. Do you think that's fair?
Well, you would never accuse Kevin of not being his own man, that's for sure. So I would never say that. He was that as a player and he's that as a coach. But I think they are fair in the sense that they spend a lot of time together. So it's clear that he's taken a lot of his coaching development from what Ange has been doing over the last decade or so. And of course, he would have built on that himself.
There's been quite a lot of transition at Rangers over the summer, a lot of new players, the takeover, etc. Would he be ready to work with the players that he's got, or would he require, a fair chunk of money to invest in his own players?
There's not a lot of coaches, as Ange did, who can go across into the top leagues, whether it's in Asia or Australia or elsewhere, and work with the players, work within a different culture, and work with, if you like, the tools at their disposal. And Kevin has demonstrated the capability to do that. I think he knows the club, of course, extremely well. He's worked always in top clubs as well. So Yokohama are expected to win. Melbourne Victory are expected to win, as they did when he was the captain and as the coach. And Shanghai Port are expected to win, which is what he's done throughout his entire career. It doesn't matter whether it's as player or as manager.
OK, Hearts boss Derek McInnes says his full focus is on building on the club's position at the top of the table after an unbeaten start to the season. It was this stoppage time winner from Craig Halkett against Hibernian that not only sent Hearts fans wild, but saw them maintain their lead just before the international break. But despite Derby delirium, McInnes says there's still plenty of work to be done if they're to continue their impressive run of form.
For us, we're just concentrating and trying to maintain our strong start, and it is just a start, but we're really enjoying what we're doing, really enjoying what we're getting from the players, and we have got enough to be getting on with at our own side. We're only talking about Hearts trying to stay top of the league, taking the good from a last minute Derby winner. For me, we just need to concentrate on improved performances. The performance against Hibs was fine, but you'd have to say the performance wasn't as good as we would like it to be. So we've just really got to concentrate on improving. We will need to improve if we're going to try and maintain levels where we're at.
Olympic track cyclist Jack Carlin believes he's got a lot to offer in a different career after announcing his retirement from the sport. The 28-year-old claimed team sprint silver and sprint bronze in Paris last August, and the same in Tokyo 3 years earlier, among a haul of 19 international medals. So what now for the 28-year-old from Paisley?
I think what sports taught me and sports given me is it's given me a lot of life skills. It's given you a lot of experiences in 10 years that people take 40 in the normal kind of corporate world or business world, and I feel like I've got a lot of strengths that I can add to a company or whatever that may be. So yeah, I think we'll wait and see what happens.
And there's plenty more for you, as always, on the BBC Sports Scotland website, including an exclusive sit-down with Scotland women's head coach Melissa Andriatta about her dreams of taking Scotland to the World Cup. We can all dream, Sarah.
We can all dream, Sheila. Sounds brilliant. Thank you very much. Now, Olive the owl has had quite a journey over the last few weeks. She was found on an oil rig off the coast of Shetland, looking rather bedraggled and battered following Storm Amy. And fortunately, she has been nursed back to health and set free by ornithologist Phil Harris. He told us her story.
Short-eared owls, they regularly migrate from Scandinavia, even as far as Russia. They come towards the UK for the winter, basically. And this is a juvenile bird, so it will be its first journey, its first crossing of the North Sea. And it's obviously then hit strong headwinds with Storm Amy running through. She's been caught by a worker, which is lucky for her. The fact that she has been caught by a worker means that she was definitely exhausted and she wouldn't have been able to feed herself. And then obviously she's had to take a helicopter journey to Shetland. and then Hillswick Wildlife Sanctuary have picked her up from there, and they've transported her to the Shetland vets and then passed her on to me just to feed up, really. She was underweight, so she needed a good feed, and then we only had to look after her for 3 days. She was actually surprisingly fit and healthy after her escapades, but yeah, quite an adventure. But it is difficult. In the case of Olive, I had to force feed her first. They're obviously, birds are very scared and frightened when you get them. They quite often won't just take food. So sometimes you have to, it kind of looks awful, but you have to kind of force feed them to get that food down them. And I only had to do that with one mouse when she first came in, and she actually then just took the mice by herself. We lost the SSPCA pulled their office out of Shetland, so we don't have any facilities for the SSPCA here. So if any birds are found here injured, then they'll have to fly them south, or in some cases the simplest answer is to euthanize them. So I think the word has got out that I'm willing to try my best to look after them and release them. So in the last few years, I've had merlins, marsh harriers, juvenile gulls, even some of the smaller birds as well. So I'll try my best, but it's purely just a voluntary thing on my behalf, trying my best. Obviously if they're injured, they have to go to the vets, and again, I'll pay for anything that needs doing with them. But yeah, it's just a personal thing, really. It's nobody else is going to do it, I don't think.
Quite a journey indeed, and we're very glad that Olive is doing well. OK, time for the weather now, and Judith, it looks rather lovely behind you.
My goodness, I tell you, I know we haven't seen the sunshine all week, have we? And it just came out today. Yeah, I did bring it. I arranged it especially, except we did hold on to a bit more sunshine in the southwest. The borders even actually brightened up here. Sunshine on Leith, I'm always proud to say that. And of course the Aberdeenshire area saw the highest temperatures as well. Glorious sunshine across northern Scotland. So it was a bit of an all or nothing day. You can see that from the earlier satellite picture. A lot of grey cloud across southwest areas. We saw 9 Celsius in Prestwick, but in the sunshine across northern Scotland, quite widely 16 degrees. Now, high pressure's been with us all week. That's trapped a lot of cloud underneath it. It's still hanging on by its teeth, certainly till the end of the week, when we start to see it declining ever so slightly, allowing a southerly wind to develop on Saturday. That'll break up the cloud even more, and this frontal system coming our way on Sunday, eventually bringing some rain across Scotland. So much needed rain, what some would say. Now, as far as tomorrow morning is concerned, it is another dry start. I think quite grey, misty and murky in places as well. With some sunshine, I think, across eastern Scotland. It's difficult to say where, but I think eastern Scotland, where we could see a touch of frost early on as well. Some fog and mist in the mix as well. A weak front across northern Scotland tomorrow, bringing thicker cloud, some bits and pieces of rain. It's really a fizzling feature, and it actually clears nicely from Shetland. It will brighten up here beautifully. Quite a keen northwesterly wind here, but light wind right across the country. Some breaks coming through, particularly, I think, across eastern Scotland. A bit more cloud drifting into more northern parts of the country, and temperature-wise, generally around about the 14 Celsius mark at best. Now, as we head into tomorrow evening, that front just dwindles away to nothing. Dry, some clear spells for the east, I think. Again, it's chasing cloud around, but it will be dry. It's probably the common denominator. And as we head into Friday, a lot of dry weather, some mist and low cloud once again in the mix, and some hill fog as well. I think the best of sunshine on Friday will eventually be across the northwest. Maybe the West Highlands see more in the way of sunshine, 13, 14 Celsius. So changes are coming our way as we head towards the weekend. Saturday looks like being dry, with more in the way of brightness coming through in that southerly breeze, particularly across northern Scotland. I think it'll feel milder as well. It's felt cold underneath all that cloud as we recently. Sunday, some rain coming in from the west for most of us eventually, and Monday looks like being a wee bit unsettled as well. So rain on the way.
Rain on the way. OK, Judith, thank you very much for all of that. And that is all from us here tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Amy Irons will be here tomorrow. See you later. Bye-bye.